Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to a nonprofit nugget with DrDebra. And I will be giving you a little something to chew on. Okay. I'm DrDebra Dunston, nonprofit strategist and funding coach and award winning fundraiser. And as you know, this show is for me to answer some of the questions that a lot of you may have. Those of you who have started nonprofits, been in nonprofit, or those of you who are looking to start a nonprofit, or maybe just even be a little curious. And so I like to answer questions that may have been posed to me or some of my colleagues in the field. This week question is a topic that I actually like to talk about is individual donors. Individual donors is one of the areas that I actually won an award for raising the most funds actually nationally, leading a team that won the most funds nationally with individual donors. And that's small and medium-sized donors. So no major donors. So for this organization, we raised $29.5 million that year. So I love individual donors. People ask me, well, are you a grant writer? Sure, I can write grants, even won awards for them. And I don't mean the money that you get in, but I'm talking about an award for a grant that I submitted, was given an award for being one of the outstanding grant proposals. But my sweet spot is individual donors. So the question today is, how can I attract more individual donors? Okay. Great question. Great question. If you're a nonprofit leader or even thinking about doing it. The reason why I said it is because a lot of times people ask me, well, why should we even why should we even try to get donors? Why should we try to get donors when we can just get grants? You can get a lot of money from a grant instead of getting $25, $100 from donors. Why can't we just get a big grant? Let me tell you something about donors. The truth is that to sustain, I'm a nonprofit founder myself, in case you're wondering. I not only did 37 years in the industry working on behalf of other organizations, raising funds for them, but I am a nonprofit founder myself of Healing and Empowerment Ministries, Inc. So the truth about most nonprofit experts is that in order for us to sustain the vision and to serve those we want to serve and to serve them how we want to serve them, we may just have to ask somebody for some money, right? You may just have to ask somebody for some money, right? Unless you're going to fund the whole thing. And guess what? Even you are a donor. Even you are a donor. People say, well, I'm funding my whole thing. Okay, well, you're your first major donor, right? Still a donor. So you do need donor dollars to do that in most situations, unless you're being given a grant by the government that they may have sought you out for. Because the truth is that most nonprofit experts agrees that the donor dollars should be one of our largest sources of income for our nonprofit. Right. Why? Because donor dollars offer you the greatest flexibility in what you can actually spend the funds on, what you can do with the funds, because donations from individuals are usually given without a restriction or even a responsibility to report on it. You know, you would still do your regular social media stuff. You would still do your PR, letting the donors know where their money went. You may even send out a direct mail or now today an email to let donors know where their money went. But I mean a direct report, like with a grant, you have to give a report of what you did with it. Donor dollars give you the most flexibility. It's the best way to actually raise funds for general operations. General operations is like salaries, rent, materials, equipment you may need in your nonprofit. Those are called general operations, sometimes insurance, just any of those things. The best place to get that kind of money and that kind of financial resources is through donor dollars, because many of the grants are kind of getting away and steering a little bit away from general operations, because there is much more difficult, even as the years I did as a funder on behalf of the government, the general operations dollars are difficult to follow and difficult to report back on. Whether it was successful money, whether you got a return on the investments, but when you invested in this cause. So therefore, Your general operations, you should seek to get that from donor dollars, event dollars, things like that. Now, the question was, how can I get more donors? How are some ways to raise donors or get more donors, to attract more donors to my organizations? The first thing I would say is start building a donor list. It's kind of difficult to keep up with, and you can call it a CRM or whatever, but at least start building a list. Even if the list is just in an Excel spreadsheet, start building yourself a donor list so that you can keep track of who you're even asking for money. When you go out and people give, like if you've been out in the street, try to capture that information so that you can cultivate. So you can cultivate a relationship with that donor before you start asking them for a lot of money. You can't just post something out there and say, give money to my organization. We do good stuff. Yeah, that could work in some causes. That can work, but usually it takes a little more writing than that. Even with a GoFundMe campaign, you get a whole paragraph to read and sometimes a whole page of stuff to read. So you have to cultivate, whether you're going to write something, whether you're going out to speak, whatever you're going to do. And then you would want to stay in contact with that donor. So the first thing I would do is start building you a donor list. Start building a list of people who do you feel that you would like to ask for money. Or first, not just asking for money, just to tell more about your program, what you're doing, the great things that you are doing. You got to touch somebody's heart, and you have to look for people who care about what you're serving, the things that you're doing, in the community. So that's the first thing. Start building a donor list. Find those people that care. Number two, you can even personalize your outreach efforts. Supporting a nonprofit cause is a personal commitment for most people. Let's just, like I was saying before. So it keeps you from talking to people like they're your personal ATM. They're not my personal ATM for my cause. I can't get mad if people don't want to serve people who, who have challenges after traumatic events, sexual trauma, which is what I concentrate on, or who want a trauma-sensitive program. I can't get upset if that's not their thing. So we want to make our offer or our ask personalized. It touches the heart more, like I said, and that's one reason why I really like ask events. I should have put that ask events. Ask events is where you can invite people. It could be like a tea or whatever. Invite them. Let them know up front that there's going to be an appeal, but you want to tell them about the organization. I'm going to be teaching on ask events. But where you can invite them, they can have a good time, and then you can then make an appeal for money. And then you can further your nonprofit's mission. So first is grow your donor list, personalize your outreach efforts, and 3 is simplify the donation process. People shouldn't have to, if you post something and say what good stuff the organization is doing, even I'm talking to myself too, you got to give people a way to give. I shouldn't have to find your website. And if I do have to find your website, I should not have to go every place to try to donate to you. I should not have to it shouldn't be my job to figure out how to give your organization some money. Don't give the donor a job to do. If I see something great a nonprofit organization is doing, there is no ask, but I click on the Facebook page, let's just say for instance, but there's no, that person puts something on their personal page, but when I go to their personal page, there's no connection to their nonprofit page. So I can never get to the nonprofit. That's too difficult. Donors don't want to work that hard. So simplify it. Make sure you have an online portal. Make sure you even can have a Cash App, a PayPal, whoever, but make sure that there's a way for people to donate to you. How are they supposed to do that? They shouldn't have to run you down to donate to you. Okay, simplify the process for them. So first, like I said, build a donor list, personalize your outreach efforts, simplify the donation process, please. Number 4, be transparent. What I mean by that, I don't mean telling all the business, but of course, being a nonprofit organization, your business is public. Even your finances are public. Your 990s, public information. So be transparent. People need to know what they're given to. People want to feel what they're given to. People want you to share what's happening with your organization. Be active on social media. Have a website. Post pictures on your website. Post the things that are happening before they happen, after they happen. Just be transparent. That's what I mean. Don't be the best kept secret in the land, but then you still expect people to give to it. What are you doing? What am I doing? I'm talking to me too. As I talk to you, I'm talking to myself. As the song goes, as I minister to you, I'm ministering to myself. So I'm telling myself to don't be the best kept secret in the land, but then still expect donors to give to you and asking the question, why I don't have donors. You have to grow your donor list, make your ask more personalized, simplify the donation process, and be transparent, be open, get your organization out there, talk about things that are happening, post pictures. And number 4, use donation tiers. Don't put an offer out there and say, we need $50 from everybody. Well, there may be somebody who can only afford to give you 5, right? You don't want that donor to feel like, oh man, I suck. You want people to feel good about giving. So therefore, if you have donation tiers, or you can include a statement like this: a donation of any amount will be greatly appreciated. So those people who can only give you $25, even heck, $5, then you have to make those people feel that they're worth it too. So make tiers of donations, a giving plan. You know how you get those mailings and it say they have one circle, maybe $50 circle, but then it will give you the opportunity to write in your own amount, right? So make that, be sure to do that. Don't make people feel bad that they can't give the $50 or the $100. You can ask for that, but then let people know that you would appreciate a donation of any kind. Any size donation would help. That $5 would be $5 you didn't have. $5 is $5. So build a donor list, personalize your outreach efforts, simplify the donation process, please. Be transparent, give stories, tell your stories, tell us what happened in an organization, use donor tiers. And another thing, do a targeted campaign. And what I mean by that, targeted where you're you only gonna, like if you're trying to give, grow a list of major donors, make that targeted to people. You can do a targeted campaign and not just do a balloon campaign. You can do a targeted campaign. You can do a campaign to 3 people. You can ask 3 people, can you 3 people pledge $1,000? You can have a pledge. Can you pledge $1,000 this year? Can you pledge $500? It may only be a small group of people, but you can have sustaining donors who may give $10 a month. That's $120 a year. Instead of an annual gift of $120, maybe somebody can only give $10 a month, right? You can do a major donor mailing, like I said. Hi, Jimmy. You say, yes, I asked for $1 and raised $52,000. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy said he asked for it. Jimmy Finch is the founder of Jimmy Finch Cultivating Hope 2, a nonprofit organization that does emergency response by food, by debris cleanup. And also he has a Fair Start program for youth that teaches them how to do the work that he do in a handyman, lawn work. It teaches them, but also mentor them at the same time to give them another alternative for doing things that don't lead to a fulfilled life. So he gives them another alternative, meet with them, feed them. I always can get people through the food. He can feed them, but he showed them how to do the things because he also is a businessman. He's an entrepreneur. And you entrepreneurs out there, listen up. There is a way for you to partner with nonprofit organizations to make things even better. You can become a social entrepreneur. It's called a social entrepreneur, or you can build a cause marketing relationship with you. It'll be a win-win situation. So he is the founder of Jimmy Finch Cultivating Hope, LLC. So, and he's located in Clarksville, Tennessee. So thank you for that, Jimmy. And And so you can do, just as I say, you can do a targeted campaign towards major donors, sustaining donors, or you can do even annual donors, somebody who just give once a year. And who knows, you may be like Jimmy, you may ask for $1 and raise 52,000. Isn't it? Wouldn't that be something? If any of my clients are listening now, and Jimmy Finch is one of my clients too, one of my best clients. So you guys, so listen, individual donors is a great way to go. You can get to them before you can even be approved for a grant. Even while you're waiting for things, you can start raising money through individual donors, even while you're waiting for things to get back, because you can find donors that don't care if your 501c3 hasn't come back yet. So they would just give because they wanted to give. So that's the target campaign. So what did we say? The first thing, build a donor list. The second thing, personalize your outreach efforts. Number 3, simplify the donation process. Number 4, be transparent, share what you're doing in the community. 5, use donation tiers, accept any donation. Number 6, do a targeted campaign. Number 7, you can do a branded program campaign. What does that mean? A branded program campaign is when you raise money for one of your programs, not for general operations, but for one of your programs. If you have a program that you want to launch or undergird with finances, you can pick one of your programs and do a campaign strictly based on that. I know you've seen organizations that say, we want to put a pair of shoes on all of these kids' feet, and they would do a shoe campaign. A meal campaign, even though the organization may do other things, they would do a branded program campaign that's only for that one program, a mentorship program. Like I'm working for Healing and Empowerment Ministry. I'm working up a targeted program for our Me and You Too program, which is our trauma sensitive literacy enrichment program. Hi, Arthur Lynette. Thanks for coming. But it's a program. So I'm thinking of a targeted program just for the Me and You Too literacy enrichment program, where we do trauma sensitive activities for parent and their children. So not just the child. This is for parents too, teaching them how to relate to their child to help them to prepare for school. This is to help us to narrow the school readiness gap and the literacy gap in low-income minority kids. And so I'm doing a targeted campaign just for that program, even though I have other programs. So sometimes you can do a branded program campaign, But these are just some of the ways that you can get donors. You can do a GoFundMe campaign. Man, there's so many different ways that you can raise donors. I call it friend raising. You can do a friend raising campaign where you don't even ask for money. That's to build your list, a friend raising campaign. But for me, I like the ask even better. Put out some money, make money, put out some money. Jimmy actually raised money while he was out there serving the community. Isn't that something? He didn't have money to start the campaign. He went out and just fed a community that he didn't even live in. He went there. He just started feeding people who had been through a tornado. So he just went there and started feeding people. And all of a sudden, people saw the great work that he was doing, and they started just giving. So sometimes you have to do it that way. The food that he was giving away wasn't food that was given to him free. That was food he bought. That was his food he went and bought. He went to his bank account, his business bank account, his personal bank account. He picked up food and just went and did some good without asking the donors. And then donors just poured in and started giving him money. And like he said, he asked for $1 and he got $52,000 in just those, in that, I think it was like a 2-day period. So sometimes you do have to step out there. You can't sit around and wait. Ooh, why nobody's supporting me? You have to do the work, people. I say it all the time. I've received a grant that I wasn't really working to receive the grant. I was just doing what I do. And then all of a sudden I found out, okay, you've been approved for a grant. I'm like, whoa, what? But it happens like that. Not saying you're doing anything wrong. I'm just trying to give it to you from the funder's point of view. I'm helping you to get funding ready. I'm helping you to get in position where you can raise the dollars necessary to do the great work that all of you are doing, or all of you desire to do. In 10 days, $52,000 in 10 days. You see that? Man, I'm hoping I'm sending this recording to a few people who I'm working with now, not to chastise or anything, but to give you encouragement that it can be done. That because there's so much work to do. People can say there's too many nonprofits, but that's not true. Because if there were too many nonprofits and too many people doing the work, then we wouldn't still have hungry people, homeless people, children getting in trouble, children going hungry, children starting school not prepared. We wouldn't have people trying to heal from domestic violence. We wouldn't have all this stuff happening if there were too many of us, right? We can do this. We can do this. When all of us work together, we can do this. We can help to heal the world of its ills. That's what we're here for. We all have a purpose, right? And even if you don't start a nonprofit, you can volunteer, you can donate, you can engage, you can serve on the board, you can help another nonprofit, because we all better together. If you want to speak with me about your nonprofit, your plans, your funding plans, if you've never spoken with me before, I do offer a free consultation. Hit me up in my inbox and I will send you the link. Or you can reach me at DrDebra at DrDebraNonprofitSolutions.com. I would love to hear more about your vision, or even what you're doing out in the community. Hey, let's work together. Okay? Stick with it. Don't give up. There are people waiting on just what you're out there to do, just what you were called to do. Don't give up. We can get you out there and help you to be sustainable. I help to get you funding ready. All right? This has been a Nonprofit Nugget with DrDebra, and I was just giving you a little something to chew on. You have a great afternoon. Thank you.